Hey, and welcome to your first day at Dairy Queen. The first thing you're going to want to do is clock in before putting on a visor and a mask. Thoroughly wash your hands before putting on a pair of fresh, clean gloves. Now, the first and hardest thing you'll learn to do at Dairy Queen is a DQ cone, so we'll start with that. You're going to want to fill the whole base of the cone before making your first bump and then your second bump. You're going to want to turn off the machine before making your DQ signature curl. Small cones should weigh 5 ounces, mine was 6, just a little bit over, but still servable. You're going to want to stir the chocolate cone dip before dipping the cone in. Once you pull it out, you're going to want to leave it there just for a couple seconds to let it drip and dry. Then you're going to move it over in a rainbow arc motion, and there you go.
Put some more. Come on, put some more. Don't be shy, put some more. Put some more. Yeah, put some more, don't be shy.
Just did a good thing. I don't regret this thing at all. And you're wondering what it is. I'll tell you what I did a
Making
good.
homemade cotton candy flavored ice cream. In a large bowl, add 2 cups of heavy whipping cream. Whisk until it forms stiff peaks. And by now, you know how we test this. Nothing comes out. It's good. Fold in 1 14-ounce can of sweetened condensed milk. Add 2 tablespoons of sugar and half a teaspoon of cotton candy flavoring. Fold in. Now divide it into 2 different bowls. Add blue food coloring to one. And fold. And pink to this one. Now fill a freezer-safe dish, a little bit at a time, different colors. A little bit of blue, and keep alternating. Tap it down, cover with plastic wrap, freeze 4 to 6 hours. When your ice cream's frozen, pull it out of the freezer. Scoop it out. Now for the taste test. With what else? Our tiny spoon, of course.
This guy named John called me yesterday and asked for a last-minute ice cream cake for his dad for Father's Day. He said his dad liked pretty plain things, but he does like pecans, so we decided to go with French vanilla ice cream with pecans mixed in, with yellow cake, and then mid-layer of caramel. Usually all of our cakes are made with 2 layers of ice cream and 2 layers of cake. Since this cake wasn't due to the next day, I used fresh ice cream to make this one. I let it freeze in the blast overnight, and then I took it out of the pan, and then I began to decorate it. We were sticking with the plain theme that he wanted to go for with the cake, so we used white frosting, and then just some graham cracker on the bottom and some pecans on top. I'm not sure why, but lately I've been into the shell border style on the top and the bottom. I like to do it nice and big, and then I wrote Happy Father's Day in red, which is my favorite color to write in. It's just classic and looks good on every cake. Shout out to all the dads out there, thank you, we appreciate you. This weekend we have a lot of cakes to make, because it's Father's Day on Sunday, and then also people still have birthdays. This is a custom cake with sweet cream ice cream, raspberries, and lots of graham cracker pie crust. We chopped that all together, and we're gonna mix it up, and then we're gonna scoop out half of it and put that in the bottom of the pan. Once that's smooth, we can add our first layer of cake, and then our mid layer. They chose yellow cake and a strawberry mid layer. We're gonna smooth out that second layer of ice cream, and we're gonna add the second layer of cake. Then it's gonna chill in the blast. Once it's frozen, we're gonna take it out and depan it. Anyone else see that heart on top? They chose pink frosting, so we're gonna make some of that and then put it on top of our cake and smooth it all out. Then we're gonna add graham cracker pie crust. I chose to do it all the way up on the side on this one. Then I added a nice white border. Then we're gonna write happy birthday for them in red. My cake decorator Jalen was out of town this weekend, but before she left, she made sure that we were really well stocked on cakes. But it just so happened I had this really nice lady named Sarah come in today, and she needed one of the only cakes that we sold out of. So I went to work and I made 5 small round cookies and creamery. Each cake gets 6 Oreo halves dipped in chocolate, and then they all get a layer of fluffy white frosting, as corporate likes to call it. I'm gonna smooth that all out. Add our 6 pieces so we know where to put our Oreos when we top them. Then we're gonna pick it up and add our chocolate shavings to the side. Then we're gonna grab them out of the blast, and it's time to top them. Each cake is topped with 6 rosettes and then 6 Oreo halves on top of those. And then we're gonna write Happy Birthday Connor on the one for Sarah. Today's your first day working here at Cold Stone. I need you to put on your apron and your hat. And now we're gonna go wash our hands. First, I'm gonna teach you how to scoop ice cream. So you're gonna grab some spades and shake the water off them. Then we're gonna hold them like this and make a point and push that down into the ice cream. Then you're gonna pull it towards you and up, and then flip that over and do it again. And now you have a ball of ice cream. We're gonna place it on the stone and smush it down a little bit so that it doesn't move when we put toppings in it. Then we're gonna add 2 figure eights of caramel, 1 scoop of chocolate chips, and then a good amount of pretzels, because this is for you. Then we smush the pretzels down, and then we start what we call chopping and folding. You chop the toppings down, and then you fold them in, and then you hug it into a ball. And then once your ice cream's in a ball, you can throw it up into a cup. Make sure your spade's wet so it doesn't get stuck. So you guys have been asking for a weird combination for a cake, and in my opinion, this is a weird combination. I am not a big fan of apple pie, but this cake is sweet cream ice cream with caramel, cinnamon, and apple pie filling. So we add all the toppings in and mix it up like normal. And since you guys have been binge watching my videos, you know what comes next. It goes ice cream, cake, mid-layer, ice cream, cake again. And then they go into blast. Then we're gonna add our frosting and then begin to wrap the cake in it. As you wrap it around the cake, you wanna build a nice crown on top. And then we use that crown to make a nice smooth edge. And then we're adding graham cracker again. And then I drizzled some caramel on top. And then we did a nice border. Okay, to be honest, recording these videos and trying to decorate cakes is kind of hard sometimes. That's why the Father's looks bad right here, and that's why the caramel drizzle isn't that great either. But I did go back and fix Father's. Hey, don't worry, I didn't forget. It is Tuesday. This is a throwback to my childhood. This is what I always got at Cold Stone. Cake batter with cheesecake and cookie dough. And then I always had to put it in a waffle cone. It's also even better if you mix it in. So here's today's Tiny Tuesday. Cake batter and cheesecake with cookie dough. This cake's a little different than the last few cakes I've done. This is a small rectangle themed cake. I don't really care for theme cakes because I have to follow a picture and make it look like something that's not from my head, but it can be fun sometimes. But I do enjoy doing rectangles. The corners are always so satisfying when you get them right. You can kind of see why I don't really enjoy doing these. I like doing big fun decorations, and these are kind of boring. And for all those who asked what I do when I mess up on a cake when I'm writing, this is a good example. My 5 kind of looked like a 6, so I had to make it work. Happy 5th birthday, Frankie. Are you ready for day 3? Alright, by now you know what to do. Apron, visor, wash your hands. Today we're going to learn how to make ice cream. I don't usually teach people how to make ice cream this early, but you're catching on so fast. So we just figured out how much ice cream we need. And we got our box of sweet cream. I'm going to pick up the bag and pour it in. And then once all that's in, we're going to lay it on the table and spread it out. And take our scraper and scrape it all to the bottom. Then we're going to lift that up, and we're going to pour the rest of that in the machine. Then we're going to press start, which looks like a motion cone. Then we're going to write SC for sweet cream and today's date on fresh parchment paper. Sweet cream is the easiest flavor to make because you don't have to add any flavorings to it. Now we're just going to wait about 8 minutes until our sweet cream is done. When the ice cream machine beeps, that means it's ready. So we hit the extract button and we lift up the hat. And then once all the ice cream is done coming out, we hit stop. Then we're going to move them to our table. We're going to put our papers on top. Make sure you tuck the corners in. Then they go in the blast to chill at -20. We're going to let the water out, and then it's time to make ice cream. This is what a day in my life looks like. We start with sweet cream ice cream. We pour that in the machine, let the machine run for about 8-10 minutes, and then we have sweet cream ice cream. Then it's going to go in the blast to freeze up at -20. Next is French vanilla. Fun fact, one of the main ingredients in French vanilla is egg yolks, and that's where they get the color from. But they are processed, so they're safe to eat. After that is cake batter, which we actually make with real cake mix. And yes, we rinse in between certain flavors. Then we're making strawberry, which we flavor with strawberry puree. That actually has real seeds and everything in it. After strawberry, we're making some mint. And then we have chocolate. Chocolate's also another easy flavor because there's no flavorings added to it. Once we're done with that, we're gonna clean the machine, then we're gonna sanitize it and fill it up with water. So today we have another cake. They called and asked us if they could pick it up a few hours earlier than they originally planned. So I hurry up and decorated it for them. That's why it looks a little bit rough. It's also Oreo frosting, and so the Oreo frosting never looks really that smooth. Then we had to mark our 6 sections so we could put all our Oreos on top. This cake has a layer of cake batter ice cream with regular Oreos in it, and then a layer of chocolate ice cream with golden Oreos in it, and then yellow cake, and then Oreo frosting on it. And then it gets topped with regular Oreos and golden Oreos. So it's a lot of Oreos going on. But this person agrees with me, and they think that cake batter with this one is too sweet, so they got sweet cream ice cream instead, so it's a little less sweet for them. But they wanted all the rest to be the same, so we decorated it just like we normally would. And then they wanted happy birthday on it. This cake's kind of hard to write on because it's really small, and I had a big tip on the frosting bag. Have you guys been watching the live streams? It's day 6, and since you did so well on day 3 making sweet cream, we're going to make a harder flavor today. This is going to be fudge truffle. We pour our chocolate base into a Cambro, add some dark chocolate cocoa powder, some secret ingredient, and a bunch of fudge. Now we're going to mix that all together. Once that's all combined pretty well, we're going to pour that in the machine. Then you want to make sure you pour the rest of that chocolate mix in too. Now we're going to flatten the bladder out on the table and squeeze the rest of it out. And then press the cone button on the machine to start it. And then once the machine beeps after about 8 minutes, you hit the extract button and the ice cream's going to come out. Now remember, every batch makes 2 pans, so make sure you have 2 pans ready. Then write the name and the date and let it chill in the blast. It's day 5, and you've been practicing throwing ice cream all day, but now you have a customer, and they said they have a nut allergy. So we're gonna go get fresh ice cream from the back, and then we're gonna go get fresh spades. We're gonna scoop out the size that they want, and then we're gonna put that in a clean Cambro. You wanna make sure to let them know we can't guarantee there's no cross-contamination, but we're gonna try our best. Now we're getting their toppings: cookie dough, almonds. Now we're gonna chop that all together in our Cambro. It just so happened that their nut allergy is to peanuts, so they can actually eat almonds, since almonds are tree nuts. And now we're gonna push that into a ball, and now we're gonna go put it in the cup for them. And that's how you make an ice cream for someone with an allergy. It's 6:30 a.m. and I can't sleep, so why not make a TikTok? We're gonna be making cheesecake named Desire ice cream cakes. First, we need to cut our yellow cake. We're gonna make a batch of 2 large and 2 small. So we cut our 2 large out of the corners and then flip over the long sides, and then we're gonna cut out our small rounds. Yes, the 4th one always looks funny, but we don't want to waste any cake, do we? And then we're gonna have to pick up all these and then cut them all in half. And then you get your pans ready, and then we're gonna add the cheesecake ice cream and then some graham cracker pie crust in our first layer of cake. Then comes a raspberry mid layer, more ice cream, more graham cracker, and more cake. And that's how you make a cheesecake named Desire. Make sure you put them in the blast so they can sleep at -20. Yesterday, Kyla took another cake order, and it was due for this morning. So she built the cake yesterday, and then I decorated it last night. So I had to pan the cake, and then let it chill in the blast to harden up. Then I got my ganache and chocolate shavings ready. And then we're gonna wake it up from the blast. Then we're gonna coat it in ganache. You wanna swipe off the excess off the top, so it doesn't drip off later. Then we're gonna do our chocolate shaving side crumb. If you haven't noticed, I kinda have my own style of doing cakes by now. This is one of my favorite ways to decorate them. I think it just looks nicer than what they ask us to do. We're gonna take some ganache, we're gonna add some water to it, and if you mix it up, it starts to make it thick so we can pipe it. I know it doesn't really make sense, but that's how it works. I'm pretty sure it's due to the cornstarch and oil in it reacting with the water. That's my best guess. But either way, it looks really nice and tastes good. And they didn't want any writing on top. I hope you like chocolate. It's day 12 here at Cold Stone. You're doing great, but you are making some mistakes. Every new person does stuff like this, so it's okay. Make sure you have a lid on your blender. And when you put your ice cream on the stone, don't just throw your spades anywhere. It's kind of nasty. You want your handles to be off the edge. And when you're mixing ice cream, The stone is for ice cream, spades, and mix-ins. So don't put containers on the stone, don't put blenders on the stone. That's not what the stone is for. And then when you have peanut butter spades, they don't go in the spade well. You have to go wash them. And so important, but whenever you go to make ice cream, please make sure the blast is on. If you make a whole day's worth of ice cream and you don't have the blast on, it all gets thrown away. If you have an online order, it goes in the freezer and not the fridge. It sounds funny, but it does happen. Today we're making our cotton candy ice cream. Or if you're under the age of 8, our blue ice cream. We need to measure out our flavoring, and then we're gonna get out our sweet cream and fill up the machine. Make sure you get all of the sweet cream out. That usually includes squeezing it and then scraping the rest of it off the bladder. Then we're gonna hit start on the machine. Once the machine starts to beep, we're gonna grab our 2 pans and begin the extraction. Once your first pan is full, make sure you close it and then move it aside, get the second pan down. And then we're gonna tuck them in, because you know they're gonna take a nap in the blast. Make sure you get all 4 corners. Once they're all tucked in, it's time for them to take their nap in the blast. Once they've been in there for a few hours, it's time to move them to the back freezer. This brings them to an easier temperature for us to serve, around 0 degrees.